Hello everybody. Today I wanted to make a video about how to bond with an avoidant during arguments. So I am a practicing therapist and I work with a lot of individuals with attachment wounds. And I know that arguments in general can be a tricky topic even for secure individuals. But I feel like, and I do personally see this in my practice a lot, disagreements with an avoidant can be a bit of a challenge. So let's kind of talk about ways that you can bond and make that argument work for the benefit of the relationship and to get closer. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The first one is understand that both sides may have some merit, right? That means that no one is necessarily wrong or right. They're just different perspectives. And both individuals should really work towards thinking this way. It's very important that you understand what you think is right is also based on your perception. It's based on your childhood. It's based on your experiences. So it's still very, it's very specific to you. And so what you think is right or wrong might not make sense to another person. And that doesn't necessarily mean that your partner has to learn the way you think or you have to learn the way your partner thinks. But it definitely is important that you learn, maybe there's something to learn about what my partner is thinking about. And vice versa. You both should do that. I think it makes it more healthy and I think it helps bond, right? The other thing is understand that you are not enemies and that you're on the same side. In general, I feel this is very common advice from us therapists to, y'all in relationships. And there's a reason why. First of all, it's pretty easy to forget that you're on the same side in a heated argument. Even secure individuals do this, just being honest with you. But it can be more so difficult because avoidants get really triggered during arguments, really triggered, very much so. And what happens is their trigger triggers their partner. And so now you guys got to defend your spot, right? The avoidant, let me give an example because I saw this pretty recently in my practice. Let's say we have a dismissive avoidant and his partner is fearful avoidant, okay? Let's say the dismissive avoidant is male. He was sharing something with her, example. Maybe he was saying, I'm buying these new couch cushion covers, whatever, right? He's decorating his his living space, right? And he's telling her about what he's going to do or what the colors he's going to pick. And she says, in a playful way, or she tried to make it come across that way, oh, I hope you're not picking that grungy green color again. Ha ha. Let's say she said that. And he took it as, and this may sound strange, but he took it as, is she trying to point out that, I have really bad style? Is she trying to manipulate me to make me change so she's trying to manipulate me to never use green again? Is that what she's trying to do? And so he got mad because he thought that she was trying to manipulate him to never use the color green again. And she was like, oh, no, I was just being lighthearted. I don't like that color, but I know it's your place. And then he starts yelling and saying, it's my house. I do what I want. You can, back off, whatever it is. And she was like, okay, this is a really big overreaction. But now it triggered her. Because what happens is he's saying, you can, back off, whatever is going on. You're trying to manipulate me. And she can say, I'm not trying to manipulate you, which would be the healthy way. I didn't mean it like that. I think I do feel that this reaction is a little bit misplaced from what I expected, what's going on. But she may feel triggered and she may feel like, oh, you're taking it like this. And she can say, you're overreacting. You're so sensitive, whatever. So now suddenly they're enemies, right? But as I had mentioned, try to not become both enemies, right? You insulted me, I'm going to insult you. I'm going to defend my place because I wasn't being manipulative. You're just, whatever. You're all over the place. And instead you could mention, that's not what I meant. I don't appreciate that, you're yelling at me and I felt like you would know better. I never try to manipulate you. I know that you've been manipulated in the past and I also know you've been having a really hard work week. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't mind if you use green. I don't like it. I don't like that color. And I do understand that it's your place. And when you say that to me, I feel like you're pushing me away. Whatever it is, but understand not not enemies. You're on the same side, okay? The third one, apologize when you feel like you did something to upset your partner. So I'm not saying apologize when you didn't do anything wrong, but if you really feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have yelled, maybe I shouldn't have cursed, apologize. I am sorry that I said that. I shouldn't have said that. I understand that would have made you feel bad because, I would have felt bad if you did that to me, so I'm sorry, right? Simple. And you can say it in the argument as well. Actually, I would really recommend doing it in the argument, trying to apologize within the argument. It really diffuses it and it makes the bonding very, very strong, right? The next one, this one is very important. Express how you feel in a compassionate and honest way. You should be direct. And when I say direct, a lot of you guys think I'm saying like blunt. I'm not saying blunt. I'm saying direct. You can still be compassionate. You can still be kind. But I want you to understand what direct really means from my context at least. And I get what you're saying. But I'm saying direct in a way where there's no beating around the bush. Avoidants do not like that because they can take it as manipulation and they get triggered by manipulation. We were just discussing that, right? So it's really important to remember as a partner, you want to try to be direct and compassionate. I noticed that I may have said this and I think it bothered you, let me know, but I didn't mean it like that at all. I could have worded it better, right? Compassionate, honest, direct. I really didn't mean it like that. I was not saying it like that. I should have, I get what you mean. Maybe I should have made it more obvious I was joking. And I know that you're stressed and I know that we've had arguments about the color of your couch cushion before. So I should have treaded more lightly on that because it probably felt like I was bringing up a topic and maybe that's why you thought I was being manipulative. I'm sorry about that. Or just in general, I wish that you didn't yell at me. It was, it definitely took me back. I thought you knew me better. I know that you've had your own experiences, we both have, but I want us to be on the same page next time. And I do know that that's not who you are and you're not always like this, but I kind of want us to try to make sure we don't jump to conclusions like that again, right? Direct, honest, compassionate. Okay. The fifth one, if your partner is yelling, express to them how that makes you feel, right? Same way, compassionate, honest. I understand that you're upset and I probably shouldn't have done that if you feel like you actually did something, right? But if I don't like when you yell at me, I know you don't mean it and you're not normally like this. Do you think that we could tone it down a little bit so we can get on the same page? Because it's hard for me to know what you're talking about if you're yelling. And I do want to hear you out, right? Something like that, whatever works for you guys. The next one is, and this one depends on your partner, but it does help them bond if you guys have a lot of rapport, especially if because most of the patients that I work with, long-term relationships, so this works really well for long-term relationships. During the argument, probably when the heat isn't as hot, but kind of ask or admit, depending on what stage of the conversation you're in, if you have put pressure on them that caused them to react a certain way. Avoidants react pretty poorly to pressure. So you might not see it as pressure, but they might. So just ask, did I say something that made you feel like I was pressuring you? Like I wasn't trying to pressure you to change your couch cushion color. Like I wasn't trying to tell you not to use green. If you want to, you can. I wasn't trying to pressure you, okay? And I know that example probably sounds really silly to a lot of you guys. I understand that, but some people get triggered for very different things, right? And if you're in a relationship, a little thing, especially if it's a long-term relationship, means like so many different things because you guys have been together for so long. So I'm sorry if I keep using that example. It just reminds me of something I've been working with recently. And so you kind of just admit, I didn't mean to pressure you. I'm not trying to change your house. I know it's your house. I just was telling you in a joking way, I'm not too fond of that green color, but it's all good. I'll still sit on it. It's okay. The next one is ask what you could do going forward to make these disagreements a little bit easier. What can I do to make it easier? Should I, take a step back? Should I be careful what I say? Am I too blunt? Am I too soft? What is it like? You don't need to say it like that, but just ask them. Let them fill it in, right? And vice versa. Share. So this is the eighth one. Share with them what you would like going forward. Going forward, I would like if, we could tone down the yelling. You know, I don't want to see cursing, and I know you don't like it either. So I think that we should both try not to do that. You know, put it in a way where it's like a collaborative approach, because that's how you bond, right? And the ninth one, which is really important, and this is kind of outside of the argument, but it helps bonding within arguments as well. Try not to bring up the same issue too often. Take time from it. Avoidants don't like when you repeat the same arguments. It's really hard for them, right? Because they need a lot more space from an argument than you do, typically, if you're not an avoidant. So that's kind of some of the examples. I hope that makes sense. Go ahead, subscribe, like, and I will see you in the next one.